Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm excited about today's conversation. I think it's a long time coming. This topic has been in my zone for a while, and it's been sort of begging to be talked about. And so I have the perfect person to talk with me. I have Janelle Rae with me today. If you're here on YouTube, know this is a podcast. What that means, it's my show, and I will talk. So if you're here just to hear Janelle and you don't like me, which is totally cool, by the way, Janelle, where can they find out more of just you?
You can go to my YouTube channel at Janelle Working Teen. Janelle Rae Thought Healer is what you're looking for. And that is where you can find me there, and or Facebook, Janelle Rae. Look me up on Facebook under Janelle Rae, and you can find me there as well.
Excellent. Okay. So I have been on Janelle's podcast or one, and I think I was on your podcast once, and I'm upcoming in a summit that you're doing called Clarity. And we're going to talk a little bit about clarity at the end of today's show. So it's a free event, if you'd like to sign up and watch it, and I'll have Janelle tell you all about the impulse behind clarity and some of the other speakers and some of the topics and the reasons why you definitely want to check out Clarity because it's free. But for right now, I want to turn the mic around here on Janelle, since she's been interviewing me for a while, and ask you first. I have to ask you how you found me, because I know you just sent me an email, but I don't know that I ever asked you how we even met.
I found you. I was looking for different speakers that I aligned with to bring onto my show, my YouTube show. And with the heart of the show being, I want to connect with other light workers and people that are empowering people. And you just lit up. So I'm looking through these different names and you lit up on the page. And I said, I need to talk to her. And that's how it happens. I reached out. You said, yes, would love to. And the rest is history on that.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Well, that has worked out well. So thank you, Janelle.
Yeah.
So first, let's talk a little bit about your story and how you got to be doing the work that you're doing now.
So when I'm highly empathic, highly intuitive. And as a child, I had no idea that that wasn't just what everyone was. You just don't think about it. It's so natural. And my world was animals. And I had the privilege of growing up really rural, up in the mountains of Montana, northern Idaho, and in Oregon. And in that environment, that intuitive side of me just was at home. So I'm surrounded by the horses that we just had, the sheep, the cats, the bunnies, the dogs, the cats, but then the wildlife. We had the bear, the cougar. I mean, that's everyday visual, they're just there. And the hawks and the eagles. And it's just this beautiful world. When I look back, we see 2020, don't we? We just, oh my gosh, that was such a magical space for me. Fast forward though into school, I am dyslexic with an auditory processing disorder. No one noticed it. I was in my happy place. I was functioning very well until I went into the world of words. I didn't work in the world of words. I had developed all this intuitive, empathic gift set as a child. Getting into the world of words, though, the confusion became overwhelming. The fact that I could feel so much, I was surrounded by so much, and it did not make sense to me. And in my culture that I was being raised in, we didn't talk about that. We didn't know about that. No shame. It just wasn't a thing we talked about. And so I didn't understand or have anything to tie to other than confusion. So as a self-preservation, I was shutting that stuff down, like shut that door, and began to, in the process, shut a lot of who I was, because we're so connected to that part of us, that our authentic piece is connected to those gifted pieces. And because I was perceiving that as my a space of failure and confusion, I also shut down and the acceptance of me. That was not okay to be who I was. So then you got to create something that is. So I'm looking around me in the world and saying, well, what is acceptable? And that's what I'll become. And I put on those clothes, that persona, whatever's acceptable. And I'm growing in that, and it's shifting and changing, because that's a arbitrary, isn't it? I mean, what's acceptable is arbitrary depending on where you're at and who you're with. And so this type of its own chaos was forming, and I was trying to juggle all of that, knowing that wasn't me, but I didn't know what else to do, because back when I had shut down me without even knowing I had. So fast forward, I was born knowing I was a horse trainer. I just knew I was a horse trainer. You'd ask me as a kiddo, 2 years old, 3 years old, what are you going to be when you grow up? I am a horse trainer. Not I'm going to, I am. And I had that solid knowing. And so when I was 16, I started training professionally. And was working with a trainer from earlier than that, but was working and mentoring under a trainer. Fast forward, I'm now in my barn. I build an indoor arena, traveled the world, came back to the United States, built an indoor arena, and I'm still training professionally. And I'm attracting horses that were labeled outlaws. And that means they'd been through several trainers and their behavior was super aggressive. I would let these animals free move without any human interaction, just let them be in the arena and watch them through a crack in the wall. But watch them without being involved. And I started seeing that this horse biomechanically is off, that the shoulders not drop, the shoulders not flowing smoothly. This is dropping. The back is not raising. All these components, I thought, why? And I got really curious about it. Connected with 3 healers, a vet that did Eastern medicine and herbs, a horse chiropractor, and a body worker who we would now say is an energy worker. But that became the healing team. And I brought the horses to them. They would do what they did. I would do the follow-up at home. And in the process of doing the follow-up, I've got the hands on the horses. My gifts started opening up. And the horses reactivated and what I was originally. They started the journey of removing those blocks and reintroducing me to me. Freaked me out. I'm like, oh my gosh, JJ, I can see inside that animal. And then I would take that back to my mentors, and they would explain to me what was happening. So that's how this started. So I also learned that horses live in that intuitive world naturally. They live within the world of healing naturally.
So when that sort of opened up for you and you remembered, like it freaked you out, but you didn't know it, like it did resonate, it didn't scare you so much that you sort of ran away and didn't know what to do with it. How did you lean into it with did you take the place of any of the healing team? Were you just part of the healing team? Were you able to communicate with us? Because I've had a lot of like animal communicators on the show too who can communicate with animals. And like was that happening? Were you taking those horses? Like what happened to the horses? Because I know you said they came on and they were wild or they were not fit for, I guess they were different because, and like you mentioned with the physicality, but did they come back to a place where they could sort of re-enter a new way of being with whether they're competing or they're show horses or they're riding people? I mean, what did the horses do before they came to you? And then what happened to the horses and where did they go after you?
Yeah, great question. They came from all worlds of competitive to trail riding. So jumpers, cutters, reiners, pleasure horses, the backyard horse. They came from all worlds and all walks and different disciplines. The commonality is they were very intelligent and super athletic. That was one of the commons between all those horses. Their behavior was directly connected to the pain, and their people weren't hearing it. And when they landed in my space, I was beginning to hear. I could hear it. I could hear, see, feel, oh, you're in pain. Okay, let's solve that so that when the pain is gone, you can do you. And that's what we need as humans. I mean, they were speaking my language back to me, basically. And the mentors that, as I learned, I did start then taking over, like the chiropractic work, I could start adjusting the moving energy. We did acupuncture with the horses, we did herbs with the horses, and I would go back to the team, and then I could follow up and do energetically with my hands or just energetically. I could move energy, very Reiki style. I didn't know anything about that or any titles of anything at the time, but I look at it now, I'm going, yeah, I was doing Reiki. I was doing forms of Reiki, and I could be hands on or hands off. I could also, the medical medium side of me, I could see what vertebrae, I could just feel. Like I literally don't see with my eyes, but I could feel into the horse's body, and I could feel, oh, what's off. And we could adjust that. And the approach I learned from the horse chiropractor, it was hands-on, but I learned through the horse's help, I learned to manipulate and shift without touching. You could just go energetically, and with the horse's permission, you just can't go in and shift anything, but you can with the horse's permission, and they're supporting and helping you. So piece by piece, now I'm speaking from hindsight, so I didn't get all of this in the beginning, but piece by piece, and now hindsight looking into it, the horse was joining me in that, and they were guiding the energy to where it needed to go. Some physical examples was this big bay Arabian gelding. He was a pleasure horse. She loved to ride in the mountains. He would take my hand and he would move me with his lips to where I needed to be. Like if I was close but not quite there, he would take my hand and he would show me. I did a lot of volunteer work at a horse rescue, and those horses are just, why would they even talk to humans? Sometimes I don't know, but they were so open to connect with me and to show me where they needed help. I mean, they do it as a group. I would be in a pen of 5-10 horses, and I would go in and I would ask, who would like some help today? And they would be me. So animal communication, yes, I am an animal communicator. There's different types and different ways people hear very verbally, people feel. I tend to feel, and that's my leading gift in this. So I get a feel, and then I get a knowing, and then that's how they guide me. I would go in and one would stand up. This is what I wanted to be chosen. I want to be supported today. And the rest of the herd would heads in, make a circle around us. Nobody's caught. We're in a pasture, 40 acres. And they would circle around us heads in. And I would do whatever I was being shown to do. Then the horses all of a sudden would change position. And now some of them would leave and some would choose to stay, and their bodies would be positioned in different configurations, sometimes around us, sometimes just a line, sometimes head to tail. And I started recognizing sacred geometry. I'm like, oh my gosh, these horses know sacred geometry, and they will form it with their physical body. The horse that's being worked on would position, no halter, nothing, would bring me their head, shift to the shoulder, walk a few steps away. That meant stop. Come back in. Now it's a bum. I got a whole back end. They would just literally position to show me what and where to help. So, so many stories. And I have this one big bay mare, and her name was Luna. Nobody could touch her, but she chose me. And she would walk right in behind me. I mean, it gives me tears, JJ. It literally brings tears to my eyes. And because it was so moving. And she would set her her head on my shoulder as I'm looking at whomever we're working with. And I could just feel her talking to me. She was literally a guide, and she was a horse nobody could touch. I never tried to pet her. I never tried to halter her. She would come into my space and she would help me heal horses.
Amazing. Uh, there's a place to ride and do just a trail riding nearby, and I did visit there over the holiday last year once, and I got the woman's card. Of course, she doesn't have an email address. In fact, is this it right here? Yep, I got it right here. Of course I do, because I'm waiting. Because I was waiting, and I actually forgot that I really wanted to go see her before we had this interview, but that's okay. I'm going to go anyway. I have every plan to do it. It's Western Trail Rides here, and you can learn safe horsemanship, enjoy the outdoors, gain confidence, have fun. Come horse around with us. So, I met the horses. We fed the horses. We cleaned the horses. We got the horses ready for bed. When we went, it was my partner Doug's son and his girlfriend. Shout out to Adam and to Olive. Olive might listen to this or watch this because she's obsessed with horses. And I told her next time she comes out, we can go. and do that. But I know that what you did with that work has now moved into you helping people to heal with horses. So let's move into how that happened. When did you transition to working with people, and how do you work with people with horses?
So one of the other hats I wear, so I've been a horse trainer. I am a learning specialist and I'm a healer. So when I'm wearing my learning specialist hat, so what, 12, 13 years ago, I started that. I'm working with different gifted individuals. So if they're on the neurodivergent, in the neurodivergent community, or ADHD, dyslexia in all of its different forms. So I'm working with clients and I'm going, wow, you are a gifted group. And there would be a few, as we were working together, would be discussing, when I was a kid, I could feel, and I'm going, oh, and so I would just kind of talk that through. And I had one adult client way back, and she was one of these very talented, gifted, intuitive people. And so we're having this conversation, and I'm like, I want to take you out with the horses. I just could feel I needed to. So I took her out there, and I just hold space because the horses lead it. I held space, and all of a sudden she goes, I'm seeing, and she would describe what she would see. She saw color come in, she saw movement of different geometries and things would come in, and she goes, what am I seeing? And I would have a knowing. So I think the horses were helping. I don't think I know. The horses were helping me understand. But what was happening is they were opening up her like they did me. And I went, okay, you will work with us. You will help us activate whatever's ready to activate. And they know what's ready to open. And there's no limit to what can open. Like we think, oh, I'm as far as I can go. No, we're just scratching the surface. And the horses world seems to see that, and they'll touch whatever's next to open. They're also able to feel emotion in a very many layers. Like if I were to compare it to humans, we see four basic colors. If they were emotions, so we see four basic colors. And a horse is like going into a paint store and you have that whole wheel of all the colors that are possible. That's how a horse feels emotion or understands or works with emotion. So when we step into that world, why are they so therapeutic? Is because that's when we're understood, that's what our emotions need. And they understand us at a level and in the micro pieces that we can't yet. And it just opens stuff up. It's like, oh, I'm understood without words. And it just can release that. So I'm seeing these things as I'm working with this client. And I said, we can do this. We can bring people. We'll ask which horse would like to participate and let them sit, whether it's virtual or not, but let them sit with horses, and the horses do the activating, they do the clearing, they do the unblock, they touch the humans, us, they'll rub our different chakras with their noses. I've seen this on TV, other people doing that, bringing horses in too. And they just know. So because of that, then I started just expanding. Well, what guidance? What would you like me to do? How do you want me with my gift set? How do you want me to work in this world of energy and healing and supporting people?
So walk me through how you work with people. Obviously, if someone is near you or can come to you, that then they can be physically with a horse. But you just mentioned Zoom. So what happens when someone's not physically there? How do you do that?
We do bring in, so I set up the cameras out in the pasture. I have different paddocks, and we bring in with the Zoom cameras and everything a session, and we invite the horses volunteer, and we bring them into the space with us, and it acts just like when, except they're not touching physical areas of the humans or the people, but the interactions the same. People are still seeing the different sacred geometries. There's still, well, it depends on the person's gift set, how it shows up, but they will be seeing the different colors. They'll be seeing, sometimes they see guides, sometimes they're taken to different dimensions and being worked with. I have one gelding who is very galactically connected. His name is Denali. He's just like, he is a kick in the pants. You're around him and he's so funny. He's a goofball. He'll be the one, if you're holding something, it'll be out of your hand and on the ground somehow because he helped it. He's just the one. He's the jokester, but he's super connected galactically. And when we sit with him, so a lot of people travel into whatever they're ready to connect to, whatever part of them that's ready to be seen and understood. He's that one. The other mare is a big sorrel mare. Her name's Mercedes, and she's our grounder, and she works in a very shamanic way. She's connected to earth. She brings in a lot of the pyramids, triangles, and things like that, and it's very shamanic. So I have some healer friends who are trained in shamanic healing and so on. And when I describe what Mercedes does, they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, she's a shamanic healer. That's what she's tapping into. So all the elements act the same, whether it's virtual or in person.
Walk me through how to, I mean, I've been on a horse before, but it's been a while. And, when you should go to the horse riding, my ex-husband got us we're going to go riding, and it was fine. But, everybody else is doing it. It's not a personal thing. It's not a healing thing. It's meant to, you go get on a horse and the horse takes you in the trail with the guide and anybody else that's there. So, but going back to this Western trail rides here in Ojai and wanting to sort of be with the horse, walk me through what would be a intentional, conscious, inviting way for me to approach? Because I'm not assuming, in fact, I'm going to assume the opposite of the woman who's with the horses, who owns them or who takes care of them. She's not doing this for healing purposes necessarily. She might be unintentionally or unconsciously or subconsciously, or maybe she does know, but she doesn't expect anyone else to pay attention, so she's not talking about it. She doesn't want to scare people, although we are in woo-woo country here in Ojai. So, I mean, it would be totally legit for her to say to every single person. She works with a lot of children. But let's say I just go in and I, on one side, sort of put out the face of I just want to like be on the horse. I want you to let me learn how to be with the horse and do all the things for the horse, take care of the horse, brush the horse. And then in the back of my mind, I want to be sort of open to whatever the horse and I can do sort of on a different level. How would I do that?
Yeah, we can do that. So and you said it, when we set the intention, when you come into, I set the intention to hear whatever you have for me to hear. I set the intention to connect to you. And it like you're intuitively already going there. It's just I want to know you. So when a horse and another horse introduce each other, there's this stand and a moment where the two fields touch before any kind of language that we would hear or notice. There's already been a whole conversation. So as you're entering the barn, you can take just like a breath, a type of release of everything that whatever you're doing, center into yourself, and with the intention of a greeting, and your field and their field will touch. And they've just had a conversation with you. They've just gotten to know you. There's just a subtle touch. And you may feel that, especially since you are aware. And many of us and many of you that are joining us, if you have the opportunity to do that with a horse, you may feel the touch. It's a subtle touch. Then you'll set the intention. I would like to ask for permission to come into your space. Now you are the human, and humans are the leaders. There's a leader in every pack. And so I'm not saying come in as subservient. You don't want that position because you do need to have the space of we respect each other. Okay. As you enter in, though, I ask for permission to enter in, and I would like to interact with you. That then you will get a sense. They're going, okay, watch their face. They are trained, and not very many people probably talk to them like this in this space that you're talking about going to. Maybe they do, we don't know. But typically it's not their normal having people talk to them. My horses, if you ever come over and you were to say that to my horse, they would be all in this conversation with you. Like yeah, humans talk to us all the time, at least Janelle, right? So that we totally get it. But what will happen often is they're tied up. They're trained to stand there, to be brushed and to get ready to ride. So they're trained to stand there. But as you do that, watch their ear. So as they touch and touch you, they may go ears forward, probably not, but they will go tip an ear to you. They may even not pin ear like I'm mad, but they may have an ear shift back. That's not a negative if they're not flat. They're connecting to you. So tip in to you, or just kind of they go to the back of their body. You go into it, and then you're getting ready and you're just having a conversation of, you may be receiving, you may be holding love and respect for them, something that stays close and in your field, and they will be like, oh, okay, you respect me, you love me. That they will totally read, because when they read and speak to each other, they hold the intention in their field, and the other one just knows it. I had a boss mare that was the best boss mare. Every group of horses, every herd of horses has a boss, and my boss mare could totally run the whole herd without moving a muscle. She had such a strong intention that everyone went, okay, we get it. So holding the intention of love and respect, or whatever you would like to convey, having that in your field as you brush, they'll be like, okay, cool. And as you're doing that, you are going to have a camaraderie with that horse. You're developing a camaraderie right there. When you go to get on, now you're going to think and feel, let's go. And the horse will respond to that instantly. What will they give you? That will be up to them. But being open like that, most of the time they will give you something. They will give you a gift. They will give you a clearing. They will ground you. They will feel into you and go, oh, this sister needs some help. Here, let's help her and support like this. You may feel it. You may get images. You may just walk away going, I feel fantastic. I mean, there'll just be, why does it feel so good for so many of us to ride a horse and go home? We're just like, oh, I feel so good. Because that horse gave us, it wasn't just us in the moment. That horse gives us a treatment.
When asking permission to connect, when talking to the horse, at least initially, is this verbal or not verbal? Like, am I
You,
saying it out loud so that the trainer's going to hear me? Or am I saying this, am I sending this sort of non-verbally? I'm thinking it in my mind and I'm sending it energetically, but I'm not saying it out loud.
you don't have to say it out loud. You can
Okay.
just hold the intention in your
I mean,
space.
not that I forget her name. She's very cute. She's a friend of my neighbor's, but I'm sure she'd be all in. I'd probably say, "Hey, I forget her name, but say let's just make up her name. Julie, can I do this?" And then she'd be like, "Oh, honey, you can do whatever you want." Like I can already hear that she'd be okay with whatever I wanted to do. But just in the case of experiment, I think I'd like to be quiet first and not necessarily announce, because I don't want to place an expectation either
Hmm.
on her or me or the horse. So I kind of want to just sort of slide in and quietly create this. Now I'm asking for me, so it's actually probably better that I didn't go do this before this interview. Although I might be doing it before it publishes. We'll see. Now that you've led me through that. But I think there's a lot of lessons in this for people who aren't even going to see a horse. Like, because I know my cats are healing, and I know my animals, all animals can be very healing. I know that cats also have the ability to, unfortunately for them, or not fortunately for me, absorb our emotions, absorb our pains, absorb our diseases, absorb our pain, things that are going on with us. And that's partly their job sometimes as we connect on a soul level. And this is why they're in our lives at that time. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that all of the steps that you just talked about with a horse could be practiced, could be used, could be experimented with your dogs, with your cats, with your goats and your sheep and your birds and your whoever, because what we're talking about is just sort of tapping into an intuitive space where we don't need verbal communication, where energetically we connect before we ever physically touch people. I mean, you could do it with people, but would that be accurate to say that this is something people could practice with their own animals?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely any animal. Yeah. And there's a whole energy that is as animal. the collective animal kingdom. So we can tap into the collective animal kingdom. And I don't live with cheetahs, but I can tap into the energy of a cheetah. We have that opportunity, and that's available to us. But most definitely that which is in our inner circle, the cat, the dog. There is, and I had a golden retriever. I've owned two golden retrievers, very empathic, right? Support dogs. We see them as support dogs. For that reason, they're that intuitive, very wanting. They're wanting to support us. They do carry, and my first dog died of liver cancer really young, and I was going through this crazy time in my life, and I was emotional, and there's just so much chaos, and he was supporting me. And where do we support emotion but in our liver? And so he passed away because he was supporting me. And I felt horrible about that, but later I'm like, no, they offer that. And I learned that we can clear in a herd or a pack. They clear each other. So they not only support each other, they clear each other. So the horses showed me how they clear each other. So they help each other as the collective heal and raise the vibration of the whole herd. And then they don't keep it. They're going, once we clear that, once we take that from brown horse, then we can give it to Mother Gaia to be transmuted. We can give it to creator energy to be transmuted. And they do that. So we can do that for them when our cat or our dog or our domestic animals, our domestic chicken, people are doing that, right? They're so cute. We can clear and support our tribe, if you will, our pack, our herd.
So let's talk about, I guess, if people are listening to this and they either want to come visit and do a healing session with a horse with you, or they want to do it on Zoom, it's JanelleRae.com where they go.
Yes, my email is janelle@janellerae.com. So if you have a question and you're like, whoa, how would this look? How could this look? I'm interested in that. Janelle@janellerae.com is the best way to catch me, get a hold of
Right.
me.
That'll be in the show notes or under this video. So, because again, with spelling, we want to make sure that you get it right. And then I guess for anyone else that wants to have some healing, I guess what I'm doing is really moving in that direction with knowing and visiting them. And there are a lot of really great trail rides here that I would love to do, that I've heard you can do with some guides. And that has definitely been on my radar. And it moved up in the radar when I met the horses back in December. So I'm definitely ready. Uh, can you give us just one more example? So there's a film crew that have been on my podcast, and they did a film called Love Heals. So shout out to Dana Crochet and to her partner Chrisana. And because Dana had an injury and she had surgery and it didn't go well. And so she went on this whole healing journey, and Chrisana basically videotaped the entire thing. And then they just worked with all the doctors and they made this beautiful film. And now they're working on a horse film, and they showed the trailer when they were here. I've seen the film twice now, but the last time I saw it, when they came to Ojai, I watched the horse trailer because they're working on the horse film, and they already have so much buzz about that. They're so excited about sharing that film, and it is about how horses can heal people and how every other modality has failed certain people, but working with a horse changed their whole life. And within that first, I don't know, minute of that trailer, I bawled my eyes out. I was like, oh my gosh, bawling. And I'm like, oh my God, I need this. There is something about this that I need too, because otherwise I wouldn't be crying. I mean, I'm holding back tears right now. Thinking about it, it's so powerful that I can only
Yeah.
imagine if you're listening to this and you're not affected by this. And maybe that's because, I mean, prior to watching the trailer to that film, they said to me a million times, working on this horse film. And I didn't like it, didn't connect. It didn't connect until I saw it. And then the minute I mean, literally the minute that it started to play, I was like, "Ah," crying my eyes out. I'm like, okay, I need to see that film. I need to go see some horses. So, so while I believe and I know that this is a very powerful medium, can we just, and I just sort of gave the example, but if you have any other tips for people who maybe don't have an animal, or to do the things with their animal, what would be some sort of, ways to incorporate and get ready for, with the intention of hopefully stumbling upon a horse, or intentionally working with you or somebody else to be with a horse, what are some of the lessons that people can take from today that we've talked about so far in their life, again, with or without an animal, that would help them be ready for these messages or these healings, or open up their intuition a little bit more to guidance, to manifestation and manifesting divine timing for like the messages that their guides are wanting to give to them about what their next steps are?
Yeah, great question. So being able to see the animal as a partner, we can kind of say, oh, you're the pet and you're over here. Your animal is your partner. Your animal is you're part of their, if it's a pack, is it a pride? Is it a herd? You're part of their herd. And at what is it when we think about what's ready to shift in me? What am I really wanting to, what am I wanting to experience with this? If I want to connect with a horse, do I even know? Sometimes we don't, but sometimes we do. And then saying, horse, could you help me? Dog, would you help remove the block that is here that's not allowing me to connect with you at the next level? And it will remove. That animal will come in, and it's not in so much tight space, but you'll sit with them, sit with that animal. If it's a pasture animal, a cow, a horse, a sheep, you'll sit with them and ground with the intention to connect, with it, removing any blocks that would keep you from connecting. That initiates the journey. Once they realize you're tapping in at that level, they're going to start talking. It's also one of our, I think, we like to think, and we're trained to think. We're trained to use our brains. How many years are we in school where we're training to use our minds? And it's all mind driven. Okay, the mind has a place and it has a role. But this heart space of us is where we are authentically and most, that's all of our power, our gift sets starts here. The animals work from here. So as we sit and ground and you're thinking, I wonder what they're saying to me. I wonder how they're doing. How's this working? You're cutting off instantly that communication that they're going, we're right here, hello, because we're in this headspace. So my advice is to be aware of that we're going to want to drop into what we're used to using, and that's our mind, and breathing into the heart space and going, okay, my intention is to be in my heart space. I want to align all that is me, and that means your gifts, your intuitive gifts, your physical gifts, everything. I want to align that with me, my heart space. And now I'm ready. I want to connect. And my intention is to connect with my animal at this time. I want to just connect. You'll get a nudge. You'll get a knowing. You'll get, however your gifts work, you'll get an understanding. The animals will show you what your gifts are. They'll show you how they work for you. Why? Because they're going to communicate through them to you. Then as that opens up, that's step one, ground. Any blocks? Sure. Let that animal support. And how does that let go? You may bawl and all of a sudden just get this bawling experience and not know, why am I just crying? You may never know, but it was something that they helped shift out. You just may have a nice grounding. The experiences are varied depending on who we are and what's shifting for us. The more and more we do that, and then start subtly observing that the cat now comes and looks at you. When my cat does that, I set the intention, I drop into my heart space, and all of a sudden, give it a few seconds. Verbally, we know quickly. This intuitive communication tends to have a pause or a delay for many of us. So it's kind of like a 1 wing 2 wing. Oh, I now know. Okay, gotcha. And that's the start of it.
Well, I'm still surprised sometimes. I've seen Doug change since we got together. He wasn't opposed to cats. At first, he was a little bit shaken up by how much they jump on him, and he was like, "Oh, I can't do this." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you were the cats, so I mean, the cats stay. You're if you're not used to this, you're the one that's gonna go." But over the 6 years we've been together, and after him meeting Winter, I mean, he's a total cat dad right now. Like, I think his mother asked me, "Are you the cat lady?" I said, "No, Doug's the cat lady." Like, literally, Winter, the only boy who sort of lives with us, and now we've got to adopt him. Um, has opened him up so much. It's
Mm.
it's an amazing unfortunately, I think he treats Winter better than he treated his children. He's a new person as
Mm,
a cat dad. And so it makes me laugh sometimes when he has to come to me and say, what do they want? I'm like, seriously, you don't know what they want? Because I'm definitely the cat lady. No matter what country I'm in, no matter where I'm in the world, I attract cats, and usually cats that don't go up to anybody else will come up to me, or at least I will be able to understand them. There's a respect. There's
mm,
a neighbor who moved in last year and they brought four feral cats, and I begged them, like, please, like, keep them inside. We have coyotes here, like, but they don't listen. So the cats run around all night long, and my goal has been to, at least for anyone that has made themselves known and come closer or come to eat at my house, which all the neighborhood cats do, I have made it known that I'd like to get to know them. And so one boy, he's let me pet him twice. And then this girl, I went over and I'm laying on the driveway and I'm upside down, like I'm in the, position on my back, and she's rolling around doing roly poly. And she let me pet her for half a second too. So I find it very successful. So I know I have that connection with animals and with my animals. And I think I can remember someone looking at me like in a past relationship thinking I was crazy because, again, like you said, they're not just pets. I'm like, no, they're like people. My animals are my children. They are like people. They are an entity. They are a soul. They are a personality. They're
mm.
complex just like people are. And if you don't respect that, then you don't get to connect with that. And if you can allow yourself to connect with that, again, I'm gonna cry. All right, I'm gonna stop. I want to transition into, which is fine. I have no problem crying, but I'd like to finish the show. I'd like to transition into, so take whatever that did for you all who are listening or watching, and see how you can fit that into your life and take today's lessons and the stories and the inspiration to a next level. And I'm going to transition by saying that could help you create some clarity. So moving into clarity, Janelle, how did you come up with this next summit of yours called Clarity?
I came up with it by channeling. What is the theme for this year? What is beneficial to bring to the planet? What information are we looking for? And as we've seen so many changes over the last few years, our planet, our energy that shifted, and our so how do we find clarity when things shift? Often we lose our footing. Where's that footing again? Who am I in this new space? And some anxiety around that is very real. We've seen a lot of that. So how do we find our clarity? So they were going connect with healers, connect with people that are tapped into this love source energy and the messages that help people find clarity. And anytime we get shooken up like we've been shooken up, it's our opportunity to heal at another level. So also, who's offering programs and information and techniques that help us find that, understand that, and heal at that next level, understand at that next level. So clarity is about that, bringing high-end love beings to community to get resources and ideas and tap in. We tap in. What do we need will vary from person to person. This may resonate with me, but not with somebody else. So getting a cross section of healers and life coaches to tap into so that the resources, it's like, okay, yeah, that is resonating with me, and offering that for clarity, the power of clarity.
And the summit is happening on June 12th.
June 12th, yes, it's pre-recorded, and we're going to launch it and have it run all day. So it'll start Pacific time, 8 a.m. Pacific time. And then we will make it available. So some people are working during the day. So how do they get to see it? Well, we'll make it available. They can get that recording. They can just reach out at janellerae.com, and we'll make sure that they get access to the recording when it's finished.
All right. So everybody sign up to participate in Clarity and to watch the replays. I am one of the featured speakers on Clarity, and would love for you to see that conversation too. It's not, I'm sure it's a spin on, it's not necessarily new information, but it's a spin on because it's Janelle and I having the conversation of some of the stuff you've heard here on the podcast, or if you work with me, you sort of know the theme of what I'm all about these days, which of course is rewiring core wound patterns and creating core wound map and getting really clear on your roadmap to emotional healing when it comes to, yes, definitely the brain piece, the awareness. It isn't the whole thing. It's having that map, it's having that diagnostic piece so that you know what kind of healings to choose to do and how to interpret what those healings did for you and what did they heal and what did they shift? Because without that sort of understanding or awareness, and again, also the interpretation piece. I just got done with teaching one of the sections in the current Rewire group. And one of the participants said, "Oh, I wasn't sure how that was going to fit in. Like, why are we talking about this?" And I thought, okay, I'm not being clear if she's even asking that question of why this is in here. And then so I thought about it later and I thought, well, this is another way we interpret love and information. This is how we interpret. And if we don't understand that we can change our interpretation, and this is a factor to help us feel more love, um, yeah, so I got real clear. I got clarity on on the fact that I need to be that wasn't presented in a way that I can't assume everybody understands what I mean. So, but I invite you all to participate in Clarity in Janelle's summit because I'm not the only speaker, and Janelle's there the whole time. So please take advantage of this free offer that she has right now for you to get a lot of really high quality, high vibrational information and connection. And I hope you enjoy it. So we'll have all the information in the show notes. Any last words, Janelle, you want to share with the audience?
Well, thank you, JJ. Thank you so much for having me here and giving me the opportunity to speak about my love, my passion, my life work, working with animals and supporting people on their journey. It's awesome to see. It's awesome to be and to feel and to be a part of people's shifts. You understand in your work, you're helping people shift. Your work is beautiful. Your work is powerful. And you bring clarity. When we were chatting about your work on my show, I just was moved by the potency of the clarity that you bring. And when we have clarity, we have confidence and we know which step to take. And a lot of times that's what just stalls us out. So I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your work. And I loved being here. Thank you. And I look forward to meeting you, the audience.
Excellent. Thank you, Janelle. And everyone, check out Clarity.